Welcome to episode 5 of Life is Horror. In this episode, I will be doing a top 10 winter horror films, none of which will be Christmas related. So I'm saving that for its own video, top 10 Christmas. This will be top 10 winter horror films that have nothing to do with Christmas. And I figured this is the perfect time to do this ranking because it's, January, we're in the middle of winter, and currently outside it kind of looks like how this video looks like, this background I have. Lots of snow, drive safely. Don't drive like how I did before Christmas and got in a car wreck because of it. Drive safely and stay warm. So, top 10 winter horror films, and I will be discussing Missing, the recent sequel to Searching, a fantastic movie that came out in 2018. But before I get into that movie and the top 10, let's talk about some upcoming horror films, sequels, remakes, because there's never nothing to report in that department. There's a new sequel, a new remake announced every day. I'm amazed. I thought I would have nothing to talk about if I did these videos too frequently. Like, I won't have anything to talk about if I, in a week. But no, every day for the last week, there's just been news constantly dropping about sequel after sequel. For instance, Megan 2 is officially titled. It's Megan 2.0, and that's set to be released in January of 2025. I'm not sure about who's going to direct that one. I don't think they announced that yet, but it's going to have the same cast. The woman, I forget her name, from Perfection and Get Out, she's going to return, I believe, and the girl who plays the daughter or niece, they're returning, and I think James Wan's returning. Hopefully, maybe he'll direct this one. I don't know. But yeah, so that's coming out. I was a little disappointed with Megan, so I'm not highly looking forward to this one. But hopefully they fix their mistake and make it rated R this time, please. They better actually release the R-rated cut of Megan like they said they would. Somebody said it, right? So yeah, I want the R-rated cut of Megan, and let's make Megan 2.0 rated R this time. Violent Night 2 is now officially being made. It's in early development, and they're having the same director come back for it. Don't know his name, but I'm sure you do, so I don't need to say it. Now, another movie that's coming out, that's a sequel, supposedly, is I Am Legend 2. That movie came out a long time ago. What was that, like 2007? It's been a while. I'm surprised we're finally getting a sequel now. And apparently Will Smith will be returning and Michael B. Jordan will be starring in this one. And apparently, like, he's the one that made the pitch for this movie. And so, yeah, I'm not crazy about this news. I don't care either way. I might see it. I've only seen I Am Legend like once or twice, way back when it first came out. And my memory, I don't remember what happens at the end, so it's pretty shitty, my memory of this film. I don't remember how it ends. I just remember there was a sad dog scene that everyone talks about, and that's it. So it's like a vampire movie, right? Or a zombie hybrid. I don't know. Like I said, I don't remember much about it, so I'm not really looking forward to this at all. If it is even being made, who knows? This could be fake news. Anyway, another movie that's coming out that's a remake or sequel. We got a remake, an American remake of One Cut of the Dead, and it's going to be called Final Cut, and that's coming out this summer. And if you haven't seen One Cut of the Dead, I highly recommend checking that out without knowing anything. That's one of those movies where you get the best experience not knowing shit, because if you already know the gimmick and what it is, it's not gonna be fun. Like, I went into that movie blind, and then like 35 minutes into the movie, there's this big reveal, like what's actually happening, and then everything starts to make sense. And it's just an amazing movie. Loved it. And so, yeah, now we're getting the American version. In case you don't like to read subtitles, you'll have this version to check out instead. But I recommend still, read the subtitles, watch the foreign version, One Cut of the Dead. I don't know where it's streaming. I think it's on Shudder. If you have Shudder, check out One Cut of the Dead. It's fantastic. So, news relating to Scream and Kevin Williamson. So, Kevin Williamson said recently in an interview that Stu is dead. Now, I bring this up because I'm in the camp of, people that wants Stu to be dead, and I'm sick of everyone. You got all these ghost face fans out there always talking about like Stu's coming back. You know, he didn't die. We don't know he's dead. It's like, no, he's fucking dead. Like, did you watch the end of Scream? Like, he's dead. And if he was still alive, don't you think they would have said something about that in Scream 2, Scream 3, Scream 4, Scream 5? They never said a peep about him being alive. He's dead. So quit bringing him up. Like, maybe he's coming back. If Scream 6 brings him back, despite what Kevin Williamson just said, I will hate Scream 6 instantly. If it was a great movie until that point, it would just undermine everything if they brought back Stu. Like, no, Stu's dead. Don't bring him back. All right, end of discussion. And the trailer came out for Scream 6. I did not watch it because I don't need to watch it. I'm already going to go watch the movie. So why do I need to watch the trailer and spoil shit for me? But you know what? In this day and age of social media, you don't even need to watch the trailer because some jackass is going to be on Twitter posting still images, just clogging the feeds with still after still and fucking quotes from Ghostface. Like, oh my gosh, he says this to Gail. It's like, everyone just calm down. Not everyone wants to know what's in the fucking trailer. Some of us aren't watching it. So quit posting pictures. I just have to stay off social media because every second I'm like scrolling, I see a new still and some quote from Ghostface. I'm like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know anything. And yeah, they're bringing back Kirby. I think I already talked about that. I don't like that. That just is so stupid. Like, no one can die in this franchise. They just keep coming back from the dead. So you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if Stu did come back because, you know, with Kirby, you now know that even if they die, they somehow can just be resurrected. So yeah, and what else? Kane Hodder is coming back with another slasher. He's going to be in a slasher movie called Kill Her Goats. So it sounds like it's going to be a really silly slasher movie, and he's going to have like a goat head, and it's just going to have a bunch of nobodies getting picked off one by one. It's got all practical effects, no CGI. That's what they're boasting about it. Like, you know, it's only going to be practical. That's like how they're marketing this film. Like, it's old school slasher, no CGI. You know, it's probably going to be a lot of babes and nudity. It's just going to be a cheesy slasher, like, you know, just turn your brain off and enjoy it kind of film. And that's set to come out in a couple of months. So I might check that out if it's as gory and cheesy and fun as they are advertising. That trailer came out also, but again, I'm already going to watch it, so why do I need to watch the trailer? So I haven't looked at it, but they're already like advertising like a 4K steelbook for this movie. And so yeah, that's really all I gotta say news wise. Oh, and Kevin Williamson will be writing an episode for Friday the 13th. And speaking of Friday the 13th, Sean Cunningham, did I say TV series? He's writing an episode of the TV series for Peacock, and I believe I already talked about that in the previous episode. But yeah, Kevin Williamson is writing an episode for the Friday the 13th TV series, which is going to be a prequel focusing on Jason as a kid and his mother working as a cook at the camp, I suppose, right? So, yeah. Now, again, with Friday the 13th, a reboot has been announced. Sean Cunningham wants to do a remake again, or, you know, a reboot, whatever. And I doubt this will happen because of all the legal issues. So I'm not holding my breath on that one. I doubt it will happen, but Sean Cunningham is once again voicing his, you know, eagerness to get the franchise going again. He's saying, I want to reboot it. Let's make another one. And he wants to make a remake of House, which I just rewatched recently, right before this news came out. So weird coincidence. And that movie, I actually would like to see a remake of House. That's something that could be remade because that movie, the effects in that film don't age too well. It's pretty fake and like rubbery. Like, I would like to see them get someone like Steve Kostansky, I think is his name, who did like The Void and Leprechaun Returns. Someone who has a background in makeup effects, like creature effects specifically, because that's what the House movie really is. It's just a bunch of different like monsters coming out of the closet, you know. So you would need someone like that guy to do the effects at least. But he's also a good director. He did Psycho Gorman, I believe. So get that guy to do the House remake. That's what I would want. So yeah, hopefully they do remake House. I would like to see that. Now, let's get into the review of this episode, and that will be Missing, the sequel to Searching. Now, the writer and director of Searching did not direct this one. He just wrote it along with the people who did direct this one, and but it's got the same crew, the same filmmakers of Searching made this movie also. And going into this movie, if you've seen Searching, you would believe that it's the same, writers and directors. It very much feels like a sequel to Searching, and it is set in the same universe. In case you were wondering if there was any kind of connection at all to Searching, Missing does acknowledge the events of Searching, so it's set in the same universe. And I loved this movie. There was never a dull moment. The reveal at the end totally got me. It just pulled the rug out from under me, and I just had a blast with this one. It's a mystery thriller, kind of horror. It's not listed as horror on Letterboxd, but this one is more of a horror movie than Searching was. Searching felt just more like mystery throughout, just mystery thriller, not much horror in there. No, but this one actually has murder and like you get dead bodies, and like this one in the third act starts to feel a little bit more like a horror film, where in the first two thirds it plays out like Searching. It's more just like this mystery, and it's very intriguing, very gripping, and there's comedic moments here and there. I love the acting. I thought was excellent from everyone. I don't know where I've seen the main actress in this movie, but she looks familiar. I feel like I've seen her in something recently. I didn't write her name down, but she was great, and I liked her friend, Vina, I think was her name, and the editing was fantastic. I love the way this movie was put together, and the music and how they tied it to the first movie at the beginning was kind of a cool nod to that film, just acknowledging it real quick. Like, yes, this film did work in the same universe as Searching, and just the way it plays out, like it just had me constantly thinking, and it totally tricked me, and that reveal, man, just really elevated the film an extra point, and I like this almost as much as I like Searching. I almost want to give it the same rating, because there's hardly any flaws with this movie. I hardly had any complaints, just little nitpicks, maybe like a little plot convenience here and there, like them like guessing the password correctly at one point, like okay, whatever, just little things. There's a Colombian character, Spanish speaking guy who just was very hard to understand. So that's just a little nitpick. I had a very hard time understanding what he was saying, but the main character seemed to understand every word he was saying. But so on rewatch, I would like to watch this with captions to understand this guy more clearly. But yeah, like even like little characters like that guy who's helping her out overseas. He's in Colombia, like going to hardware stores trying to help her with this mystery where her mom is. And just even little side characters like that were great, and they flesh out those characters and give them arcs, and there's lots of heart, a lot of emotional scenes in this, and I just adored this movie. I thought it was fan fucking tastic. At least like a 9.5 out of 10, damn near flawless. It could go up in rating on rewatch, and I can't see this movie not being in my top 10 by the end of the year. This will probably be my number one right now. I'm calling it. Like Searching was my number one of 2018, but that was before I saw Hereditary when I made that video. And it's not even really a horror movie, like I said, and you could argue that for this movie, but whatever. I'm putting it on that list, and I will be shocked if this movie is not in my top 10. Or it's probably going to be my number one. So yeah, I love this movie. Missing, if you're a fan of Searching, I don't think you'll be disappointed with this one. Check it out. And if I'm being honest, like this one, unlike Search, like this one really got me. Like Searching, that reveal at the end of that movie, I kind of suspected that person just a little bit. So I wasn't too shocked by that reveal, but I still liked it. But with this one, just like there was just reveal after reveal, and especially that last one, I was just like, holy shit. And it was amazing. So yeah, if you love mysteries, if you loved Searching, I think you'll love this one also. It's a laptop FaceTime horror movie, or horror whatever. It's like all kind of like how Unfriended was. But if you've seen Searching, you know already what this movie's going to be. It's done the same exact way. It's all footage, like FaceTime, security footage, kind of like a found footage movie, laptop. So all that. It's told in that format. It's not shot like a normal movie would. So yeah, really I strongly recommend Missing. Check it out. So now let's jump into my top 10 winter horror movies. Just want to give a quick honorable mention to a movie that did not make my list, and that is the slasher Curtains. I want to love that movie, but there's just too many issues. That movie had a lot of production issues, and you can tell when you watch it. It's messy and a little boring in the middle, but it's one of the only like winter slasher movies that I can think of. So I just wanted to give it a quick shout out because none of these other movies on my list are slashers. So number 10, a movie that just made my top 10 of 2022, and that is No Exit. You got a bunch of people stranded at like this bus stop or whatever. I kind of forget where exactly they were, but they're all trapped there. There's a blizzard outside, and it's a mystery. This woman finds this kidnapped like girl tied up in the back of a van, and so now she has to figure out like which of the people that she's stuck with at this rest stop is the owner of this van. She doesn't know who drives that van, so she has to like figure out who it is. And it gets a little bloody at the end. There's some nail gun action, and it's pretty fun. So I strongly recommend that movie. Also, a little underrated. I don't think many people have seen it. It doesn't get talked about enough, and it's on Hulu, I believe. That's where I watched it, anyways. Next movie, number 9. We Are Still Here from 2015. This is like a haunted house movie with lots of gore in the third act. It gets way bloodier than you would expect, so which is rare for haunted house movies. Usually they're never this violent. But this one is a hard R rating. Like it's pretty gory. Practical effects, some CG for the ghosts. Like they have a unique look. They look like burnt corpses. Like they have like hot like steam coming off of them, like these glowing eyes. They look pretty freaky, and they're very hot to the touch. They'll burn you if they touch you. And the third act is just fabulous. It's got Barbara Crampton in it, and what's that actor's name? Larry Fessenden. He's in this movie. He does a lot of like indie horror films. And so yeah, strongly recommend We Are Still Here. I recommend every movie I'm about to talk about. These are all movies that I like to love. And so number 8 is Crimson Peak, another haunted house movie by Guillermo del Toro. This one is very atmospheric. The cinematography in this movie is beautiful, great cast, excellent performances, a little twist in the third act, and just the visuals alone make this movie worth watching. It's just visually stunning beginning to end, and one of my favorite Del Toro films. My favorite is still Pan's Labyrinth. That's a masterpiece. Number 7 will go to Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. A lot of people's number 1, I bet. Everybody loves this movie, but I've already stated in the past, I don't love this movie. I like it, but I've only seen it like maybe 3-4 times. It's just a little too long, but the acting is phenomenal. Shelley Duvall, Jack Nicholson at a hotel that's again haunted. So we got like 3 haunting films in a row. Haunted hotel. Love the look of the hotel. Again, cinematography, the way Kubrick shot this film is fantastic. But it's just I'm not into every frame. I do think this movie gets a little dry in spots, a little boring. I think they spend way too much time on the Halloran character. Like I already reviewed this movie, so if you want to hear my thoughts, go check out that review. But yeah, I just have some issues with the film. It's not highly rewatchable to me. So number 7, I felt comfortable putting it there. So number 6, The Wolf of Snow Hollow. This is another recent movie that came out a couple of years ago. This is a horror comedy mystery. It presents itself as like a werewolf movie. That's the mystery. Like, is there a werewolf or is it something else? The sheriff thinks that there's just this madman on the loose, but there's a lot of locals and even like other police officers that believe that this is the work of a wolf. Like these people were torn apart, so they think there's like a werewolf out there, and it was always a full moon when these deaths occur. But the sheriff is just hell bent on the idea, like, no, it has to be a person. You guys are crazy. There's no such thing as werewolves. And then you get the reveal at the end. And I love this movie. It's one of my favorites from 2020. It's hilarious. I love the main actor. He was in Halloween Kills. And he's also the writer and director of this movie, I believe. So if you haven't seen Wolf of Snow Hollow, it's a fantastic horror comedy and one of my favorite werewolf movies. So, number 5, one of my favorite vampire movies, and that's Let Me In, the remake of Let the Right One In. I slightly prefer Let Me In, the remake, the American remake. I prefer it. I like Chloe Grace Moretz. Again, just the way this one was shot, the lighting, cinematography. Just this movie looks gorgeous. It's set in the 80s. I love the soundtrack. There's a couple of really intense moments, like that scene when like Richard Jenkins is hiding in the back seat. He's got like the garbage bag mask on his face. It looks pretty freaky. Like, and the effects in the movies, the CG that's used pretty well, and just a phenomenal vampire movie. One of my favorites, if not my favorite. Like this and From Dusk Till Dawn would be like up there as my favorite. Number 4 is Oz Perkins' The Black Coat's Daughter, aka February. I have a review for this movie where I blow it. It's a masterpiece. I absolutely love this movie. I think it's just so eerie. It's got so much just dread from beginning to end. It's such a just disturbing film, and it's a kind of a spoiler. I think it's kind of a reveal, but it's a supernatural film. I'll say that. I don't want to say too much about like where exactly it goes in the third act, what's revealed. But it's a supernatural horror film, and it's got Emma Roberts and Shipka, what's her name, Kierna Shipka, and Lucy Boynton, just fantastic actors. The atmosphere of this film and just that sense of dread beginning to end, like it's just such a creepy slow burn. It's a slow burn, just to warn you. If you don't like slow burns, you probably won't like this movie, but it's just fantastic. I love it. Number 3, Misery. One of my favorite Stephen King movies. This one, of course, is about a writer who has like a broken leg, broken foot, and he's stuck in this cabin in the woods with his number one fan. And he quickly starts to realize that she's crazy and he has to find a way to get out of there, but it's kind of hard to do that when you're like in a wheelchair. And just the performances in this movie are Oscar worthy. Of course, I'm blanking on their names right now, which sucks, but I think James Caan, right, plays the male lead, and fuck, I always blank on names. But yeah, the woman who plays Annie Wilkes, I remember that name, but I don't remember the actor. Kathy Bates, right? All right, so Kathy Bates. You know what? I could actually just click right here and it'll pop up. I have my phone right in front of me, and it would pop up. So yeah, Kathy Bates, and so it's just fantastic acting, and one of my favorites. Like I said, hardly any complaints about this movie. Another masterpiece, in my opinion. So yeah, I would say like my top 4 movies here on this list, I would give like 10 out of 10. I just think they're just damn near flawless. Number 2, John Carpenter's The Thing, of course, had to make the list. It's set in Antarctica, just out in the middle of nowhere. There's no help for thousands of miles. Like they're out there on their own. And of course, I have to talk about the amazing effects in this film, just absolutely phenomenal. And it's a shame that this movie wasn't so well received out of the gates. And just, yeah, fantastic cast. And the cinematography by Dean Cundey is also great. And the score by Ennio Morricone. And I have a review for this movie, so you can hear more of my thoughts on this film there. Number 1, I also have a review for this movie, and that is Adam Green's Frozen. I just absolutely love this movie since the first time I saw it. And this is number 1 because this is the one movie on this list that really does make me feel very cold when I'm watching it. because they're stuck on a ski lift. It's a one setting location, like very kind of like claustrophobic. They're just stuck together, like three people on a chair, shoulder to shoulder, and there's hungry like wolves below them, and they're the weather could kill them. So there's like all these different threats. You got the weather, and of course there's like a big blizzard and strong winds that kick in. They're getting frostbite. At one point, they're like getting stuck to like the bars that they're holding on to, like their skin's getting stuck on, and just some cringy moments. And the characters, the way they're written, I loved the characters. Again, the acting, and for a film that's just all in this chair for most of it, it never gets boring. It's never dull, and it's just very well done, very well written. I love the characters. They just seem genuine, like real friends. This guy's like the third wheel, brings him along to go skiing, and she's like, this is her first time. She's like an amateur, and so, and then because of that, it like causes them to be like the last one on this thing, and they get stuck up there. They're left up there the whole weekend, and so yeah, it's just one. It's a series of unfortunate events, and it's fantastic. Check it out if you haven't seen it. It's like Adam Green's best film, but it's not my favorite film. My favorite will always be Hatchet because of nostalgia. I'm a slasher guy, but I think this is easily like Adam Green's like technically like his best film. From like a writing standpoint, the acting, like I just think it's fantastic. So, Frozen, easily my number one, and obviously I'm not talking about Frozen, that stupid fucking Disney film. Frozen, the ski lift movie. So that is my number one winter horror movie. What is your top 10 favorite horror movies to watch in the winter, your winter themed horror films? Let me know in the comments below. If you've seen the movie Missing, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. And if you haven't seen it, like I said, go watch it. Strongly recommend checking it out. And so yeah, that's all I gotta say in this video. And so I don't know what the next video will be about yet. I haven't really decided. It might be a quiz video, or it might be some other top 10. Who knows? So yeah, until next time, goodbye.